So here we have a 2011 Kia Sportage. It's the 2 litre diesel engine with roughly 66,000 miles on the clock. As part of the service on this Kia, I'm going to be changing the fuel filter, the diesel filter. Now, I'm not too familiar with this vehicle, but the same applies with the engine cover. They're just on a ball and socket arrangement. Only rubber sockets there, they just push down onto these pegs. So you can just pull that off, get it out of the way. I can't say I've actually done one of these on this particular model myself before, but you can see there it's tucked right down the back, behind the battery. Inlet and return to the engine on the filter there. And a couple of plugs on the top. Yeah, looks a little bit compact, to say the least. But we'll get cracking, see how we get on. Right, I'm going to start with these 2 pipes. I don't know if you can see, but there's a little green tab there which needs pushing in. And what I tend to do is push the pipe on and push that in, and then you generally find, yeah, it comes off a bit easier. I think the tab's at the bottom on the other one. It's a little bit difficult to get on actually. Where's it round the side there? Oh, there it is. That's it. So they're both released. I just used a little pick to push it in because it's actually round the side. Now I'm lucky enough to have a tub of all different plugs and things. It's not completely necessary, but if you've got something kicking around, you can just push in there to stop fuel dripping everywhere. It's useful just to save a mess, but I don't think much would come out anyway. That'll do. And I think I'll try unplugging these multi-plug connectors next, which looks like you just got to push down the tab. Oh, there it goes. Oh, it's actually slid off of the housing. There's not a lot of space. It may be that we'll have to dismantle all of this, but I'll give it a go first anyway. Oh, that's it. That's one. 2. Right, okay. I think the next job would be to undo the 2 nuts on the top. They're a little bit difficult to see. They look like possibly 12mm. We'll undo those and see if I can lift the housing up off the studs and bring it out this way. Right, so this is the setup I've used, just a 3/8 drive ratchet with a wobbly head and a single hex 12mm socket. I managed to get it in this way, but it's actually that nut there which I've loosened right off, and the one behind it, right down under there. So I should be able to undo them by hand now. Oh, I've got to try not to drop them. That's one. So I'm hoping it will just lift up off of those studs, just, which could be a bit of an ask. It's up against the underfelt. Oh, it's so close. I think what I'll do is have a fiddle around and see if I can get this plug off, which will give us a little bit more clearance. If it's like this one, it's got a little tiny barb right on the bottom there, which locates in that square hole there. It's a bit difficult to see as it slides onto this tab. So I'll have a fiddle around anyway and see if I can get that off. Right, so a few things I've done. I took those nuts off the top of the studs there, which in fact you don't need to take off, I've just discovered. Also managed to remove both of those plugs from the top of the housing, which again didn't need to. I've put a couple of plugs on the pipes coming out of the filter just to try and stop any fuel spilling everywhere. There are two further nuts, a little bit difficult to show, down here, 10mm, which hold the whole thing to the inner wing. So it's only those two that you need to undo. I'll try and get this out of here now and then hopefully can give you a better idea of what's going on. I don't know how successful this is going to be because it looks very tight again. Ah, that filter's come out now because I undone the other two nuts. Maybe that will make it easier. Oh, I've lost one of my caps. So that's the actual filter housing and filter. I'll put that down and get the other piece out. This is like a big housing which it is actually fixed to, and this bolts to the inner wing. I don't even know if it's going to come out. Without breaking anything. That's it. So that sits down the back there, upright like that, with this inside it, like so. So I undone the top two nuts. In fact, I only needed to undo, there's 3 studs there, but there was only 2 nuts, 2 10mm nuts that hold it against the, it's actually the strut top part of the inner wing. So really there's one plug here which needed disconnecting, 2 on the top, 2 pipes and 2 nuts. So we'll get this in the vise and see if I can get the filter off next. Right, so this is still going to be pretty much full of diesel, so I'm going to unscrew this sensor off the bottom. Should only be hand tight. And let that go. It's a little bit of a messy job. No matter how careful you are, you're going to end up with some diesel everywhere. Put that up there. That could take some time. Right. Yeah. That's got it. So this is going to leak again. Hopefully catch the worst of it anyway. One diesel filter. So we'll grab the new one out of the box and see what seals it comes with it and get it back on there. One new diesel filter. Unfortunately didn't come with any seals, so I'm just going to make sure there's a rubber seal there, which looks fine, rubber washer. So I'm going to screw this sensor back in. These fuel filters, they're a bit more than an oil filter. I'd say 20 to 25 pounds. That'll do. Now I'm going to put this in the vise. I want to fill it with diesel before I refit it, just to reduce the chance of too much air in the system, because then it will be a real pain to start up. So I've got a can of diesel here. It is diesel, not 4-star. Probably have to do this a few times as the paper element soaks it up. That looks like it. Now we've got the housing, which also has a rubber O-ring on there and a seal around here. All looks fine. That's it. I'll put another couple of plugs on here to try and stop any spillage, although I'm bound to lose a bit somewhere. So that's one way of filling this up. You could bolt it all back on the car first and use something like this, a bulb primer, if you've got one, which you can clip onto the inlet and put the other end in a container of diesel and just fill it up like that until it comes out of the outlet. But we've done it that way anyhow. I'm going to get this back to the car and get it bolted on next. Right, I'm going to attempt to put this all back in one piece. It might not work, but it's pointless getting me to tell you not to take these nuts off and just take them two off if it won't come out in one piece. So I'll try and get it back together in one piece. It may be that you need to take them off to give you that little bit more clearance. Right, that's back on. I think what I'll do to give me a little bit more space is take this bit of trunking off the air inlet intake. So it's only a 10mm clip there and a 10mm clip there. So I'll put this down somewhere where it's not going to fall over. Right, so in order to remove this bit of pipe, I've got to undo this 10mm bolt here to release that clip. And I've got a spring clip here to release as well to get this breather hose off. And at this end, the same 10mm nut head on a clip there to loosen. Then hopefully we can get that out and just lay it up here out of the way and give us a little bit more clearance. That's that one loose, same at the top. It's got a wire on it which I will disconnect. Just a little tab that you push down to release. And then I've got a spring clip down here. Squeeze together with some pliers and slide that off. Hopefully that will just slide off of there. I'll just jiggle that a little bit to make sure it's loose. Yeah, there it goes. It's quite a snug fit. Pull that off the turbo. Oh, that's it. That might make it a little bit easier. Right, so I've clipped the two plugs back on the top here. Hopefully I won't need to touch those again. Now what I'm trying to do is line up with 3 studs that are sticking out of the inner wing to go through these holes, which, as I said, they only had 2 nuts on the top there. It's going to be a little bit difficult to show because on the camera, because it's right down the back here behind a wiring harness to the ECU. So I'm just going to try and wriggle this filter into place and see how we go. Looks like fun. I think the other fuel pipe's got trapped underneath it. There's my torch. Oh, there it is. Right, that's okay. Right, that's back on the studs. Okay, so I've nipped up one of the 10mm nuts. hopefully you can see the extension bar and the socket going to the other one. Just nipping that up as well, and that should secure the filter in place. It's definitely made it easier taking that bit of inlet trunking off. That's well worth removing that. Right, that's the two 10mm done up. Right, so we're connecting up now. I've got two multi-plugs on the top. I think my gloves might have seen better days. That's one. I think that's on. Yep, that's on. Two plugs on the top. There's one down the side here, which is a little tricky to show. Right here, it's got a little tab on the bottom that you pull down to release it. So I'll just clip that back in. That's in. And finally, we've got two pipes to go back on. So I'll just pull the plugs out, that one off. That one in there, that one off, ooh, and that one on there. And that is the fuel filter changed. Obviously I've got to put the bit of inlet trunking back on, but that's the filter in there. We'll get the inlet trunking back on and hopefully it'll fire up. Right, so final stage to this fuel filter change, we'll get this bit of intake trunking back on. Which was quite tight coming off, so no doubt it'll be tight going back on. I can get that one in there. Ah, not too bad. Ah, there we go. Well, I'll do up these clips. Almost there. That's getting tight now. That's it, that's that one. The one at the top. A bit easier to get to. I've got this plug to go back on. That's it. And one spring clip down there. There we go. That's the fuel filter complete. Next we'll fire it up, see how it goes. Right, so everything's back together. We're just gonna jump in and fire it up and make sure it ticks over okay. It might take a little bit more cranking over than normal. Oh, actually that wasn't too bad. Going to make sure there's no leaks. all looks nice and dry. Turn that off now. So it looks good, seems to run fine. That's why it's generally a good idea to prime a filter before you put it back in to minimise the chance of getting air in the system. Now this engine cover, I took this off earlier anyway to do another job, but that can go back on now. It's only got a ball and socket arrangement to hold it on, rubber sockets on here, so you literally just line it up with the pegs and then just push it on. That's it, all done. So all that's left to do now, I'll, as I generally do with any cars that I've done work on, give it a run around the road and double check and make sure there's no leaks from the fuel filter. Well, thanks for watching. Hopefully the video's been of some help for you, and if it has, please consider hitting like and subscribe. It will help our channel out no end. Cheers.